Mr. Sam Kales, March
on,
Madness. I'm not talking about basketball.
We are not talking about basketball. All right, it's the first time I've had to sit down and look at this since we talked last night. I gave some of my early impressions there, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm not. You know, I like to spend time. I want to see those matchups. I want to really think and look at some numbers and things like that before I actually come up with what I'm going to do. So,
Well, I mean, look, we have plenty of time to talk about basketball, but I really want to dive into just right off the bat. The NFL madness has been going on. I don't think I've ever seen a day. I don't remember a day of some major signings in free agency that's just occurred today. And obviously, it starts with the announcement of Tom Brady and unretiring. We broke it on the news last night as we were coming on air, which was crazy. But you still have major, signings that happened today, and then some more still to come, of which I think is the biggest free agent out there. Not free agent, but a trade that's still to occur. But Deshaun Watson, Sam, is still out there. He was acquitted on all charges. And now it looks like to me he's going to be a Carolina Panther.
As I was trying to just go through and look at some stuff here real quick, I saw that the Texans did not allow the Colts to talk to Deshaun Watson.
Because they're in the same division.
Yeah. That's got to be it. I think Carolina would probably be a halfway decent landing spot for him. Yeah.
But I think Christian McCaffrey is going to be part of that trade package, man. You got to throw in Christian McCaffrey.
Yes, if I was the Carolina Panthers, I would be doing whatever I can to rid myself of Christian McCaffrey and send him somewhere that has really good hospital care. Because when we did the fantasy football show, me, you, and your brother. That I said that then, and I think it wasn't 3 weeks until he was on the shelf. If Christian McCaffrey could play a 17-game season, he'd be a pretty darn good player.
Dude, the kid, the kid's a fantasy buster. When he plays, he's great. But when he doesn't, he ruins your entire fantasy season. So you're right. Everybody had to have him in number one this year, but then he didn't play half the games, and so everybody's fantasy team was kind of blown up. But Sam, another major signing today, and I think it's pretty major, is the Bears' former second pick that they traded up to go get Mitchell Trubisky. The Mitchell man is going to Pittsburgh to be their starter.
I think that Pittsburgh needed to make a move. Needed to get somebody.
He's a bridge quarterback, man. He's a bridge quarterback. He's not going to be their star. He's not going to be like their Ben Roethlisberger.
I hope so. I have gone on record of saying that I hope Malik Willis goes to Pittsburgh. I think if Malik Willis goes to Pittsburgh, he has the best chance to have a very, very good NFL career, as opposed to going to Washington or Carolina. Trubisky's not a terrible guy for Willis to go and learn.
In the right offense, Mitch Trubisky can flourish. Now, Matt Nagy absolutely ruined this kid. Now, he didn't have a chance to really play behind Josh Allen, of course, in Buffalo, who had a spectacular season. But I think this is going to be a resurrected time for Mitch to shine. And again, it depends on, are they going to allow this kid to be out, rolling out, throwing the ball, making plays, but he also has Najee Harris, which is a great running back behind him. Good tight end. Freiermuth, I think, who's come out to be a really good tight end. And then the wide receivers. Now, Juju Smith-Schuster is a free agent. Noted potentially to go to the Chicago Bears is what they're talking about. But I don't know, man. They need to strengthen up their wide receiver standpoint. But Mitchell Trubisky is going to be like the Ryan Tannehill of this Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, Tannehill's. I like the Tannehill comparison. He's fair. He's competent. He's not going to set the world on fire. He's not going to. I don't think he's going to lead you to a 12-5, 13-4 season, something like that. But could he be definitely 10-7? Yeah, possibly
Yeah.
with the right pieces around him, and I think Pittsburgh has those pieces. And Mike Tomlin, if if I got to pick if I was starting a football team today and I could have any head coach in the NFL, I'd pick Mike Tomlin because I think he's a leader. You don't hear crazy um, DUI stories and
Yeah.
stories of punching your wife and late for practice, out late all night at a club or something like that. Those things don't come out of
Mi-
Pittsburgh.
Mike Tomlin's one of my favorite coaches in the NFL by far. I mean, I think he's been long lasting. I mean, look, the Steelers have a great coaching model. I think he's like the fourth or fifth coach in Steelers history. I
So,
mean,
it
it's
may be a little bit more
crazy.
than that if you go back to
Mhm.
some of their early years. But I mean, he's been with them what 12, 15 years, something now.
It's absurd. I mean, you got to remember, Bill Cowher was the last one behind Mike Tomlin. Okay, and then it was Chuck Noll. It was
Right,
Chuck Noll,
and
Bill Cowher, and this is going back to the early '70s, dude.
yeah, yeah.
Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin.
90s,
That's it.
2000s, 10s, 20s. So, I mean, you're in like over the course of 5 decades, Pittsburgh has 3 head coaches. That is something to say for that
Yeah,
franchise. That they do something well and they do. Oh, and they've won quite a few Super Bowls over those in the
they've
Super
done
Bowl
very
era
well for
here too.
themselves.
Yeah,
They've
the
done very
Steelers are
well
not
for
a bad
themselves.
not a bad organization at all.
Again, we're just going to kind of run through this free agency thing, man. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. Amari Cooper goes from Dallas to Cleveland. Cleveland then allows Jarvis Landry, who is yet to be signed, to explore free agency, man. So Amari Cooper taking the place of Jarvis Landry, and Amari Cooper going to be Cleveland Browns' #1 receiver, man. Going to be interesting.
That's
Now Cleveland is without OBJ and now Jarvis Landry, the LSU tandem, and they were best of friends. I mean, who knows where Jarvis Landry is going to wind up ending up? I see the Jets maybe try to sign him. By the way, the Jets just signed the Bengals tight end, CJ Uzama
yep.
from the Bengals. He went to the Jets, dude. He went to the Jets. The
Why
Jets
why
get
are you
a
going to want to go to
fantastic
the
tight end.
Jets?
Money,
You're
dude.
okay.
Money.
Okay, I guess. I mean, I don't know because I've never been in that position to think about it. I'd like winning. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, so you can get $8 million and play for the Jets, or you can take 4.5 and go play for the Packers or the Rams or a team that
Yeah.
that's going to compete year in and year out. I mean,
Right.
is it that much of a difference in money? But I'm not in that position to say. But the Jets, you really want to go
Yeah.
to the Jets
Hey man, it's
and fight
money
the
talks. But you
Bills
know what,
twice a year?
Zach Wilson's getting some tools to be able to throw to now, man. I mean, that's not a bad tight end. Also, and I know Washington Commanders ex guard. Remember, the coach was like, "We just drafted a guard in the first round." Brendan Sheriff is now a Jacksonville Jaguar. The Jaguars are very active today, man. They
Yeah,
signed
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
free agents, man.
I think the Jaguars are kind of looking to do something and looking to build something down there. And the 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 Jaguars are the butt of the NFL jokes, really. But I think that they try hard, and they just haven't. It just hasn't worked out right for them. I don't think that they've made as many terrible mistakes as this team right here has. But
Yeah.
and hey, while you're on the Commanders, did you see former Washington defensive tackle and former Stonewall Jackson Raider Tim
Go
Settle?
Raiders. Tim Settle went to
Yeah,
the Buffalo Bills.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Tim
yeah.
Settle went to the Buffalo Bills. Went to our high school, Sam,
Yep.
and
Uh-huh.
very proud, very proud,
Right.
very
Right.
proud of him,
Right.
man. He's,
It's
he's doing
the
really well.
sooner that we can move on from talking about the Commanders, the sooner I can move my arm because this is kind of a funky way to get my shoulders going back here. It's just
Exactly. Yep.
it's what we have to do when we talk Commanders. I have to.
Jaguars
Uh,
also signed Sam Christian Kirk from the Cardinals as a wide receiver, Speedster, and now Trevor Lawrence has another great weapon to throw to, man. So they also signed, I believe, another offensive lineman. If I'm not mistaken, it was Oh, they re-signed Cam Robinson. So they have Brendan Sheriff and Cam Robinson, their offensive tackle. They signed. So I mean, got some protection in front of Trevor Lawrence, and now Christian Kirk is a weapon. So I mean, look, Jaguars are starting to build, and then ETN is supposed to come back this year. Obviously, he was hurt last year, so they're starting to build, man.
Yeah, I think that I don't think that Lawrence played bad necessarily last year. He didn't play terrible. If he goes
He
into
didn't
year,
have anybody, man.
he
He
no,
didn't have
he
anybody.
didn't have anybody. But you start building a little bit of an offensive line around him, give him some weapons to throw to there, and hey, it's you know, I mean, this Jacksonville team made an AFC Championship game when the last decade or so. So this team isn't as bad as everybody makes them out to be.
Yeah, another notable free agent signing. The Miami Dolphins signed Teddy Bridgewater, man.
Hmm.
And also, listen to this: the Minnesota Vikings extended Kirk Cousins another year for $35 million.
You talk about somebody making
I don't
money.
understand what the
It's Kirk
Vikings are doing.
Cousins. It's
I
Kirk
don't
Cousins.
understand what they're doing. I mean,
Cousins
look, I
has
like it because I'm
pictures
a
about
Bears
somebody.
fan. I like it because I'm a Bears fan, and they continue to. I mean, look, they screwed up the situation with Jim Harbaugh. Obviously, they had a shot at Deshaun Watson. They didn't want to give up the draft picks. They didn't want to give up a lot of the talent, and so yeah, they obviously got rid of Stephon Diggs and traded him to Buffalo. They got Kirk Cousins as their quarterback. I don't know what's going on in Minnesota, man. I don't know.
I don't understand that either. I think that Minnesota paid Cousins too much in the in there when they signed him away from Washington, but he was just looking to make as much money as he could, and I don't like that, paying quarterbacks these exorbitant amounts, um, because it's going to take away from other places where you need to sign players, and you want a quarterback to stay for 7 years. Well,
Yeah.
you've got you develop a receiver and running back, then those guys are going to need to get paid in 2 to 3 years too, but you're out of money.
Hey, another Jacksonville signing. I forgot to mention, man. Evan Ingram from the Giants signed the tight end with Jacksonville. So they get Brendan
I saw
Sheriff
that
as the
one.
guard, solid signing. They get Evan Ingram as their tight end. They re-signed Cam Robinson, right? And they get Christian Kirk. I mean, again, like I said, Jacksonville, shoring up that offense, man. I mean, they're known for their defense, but they're shoring up that offense, man. Pretty amazing. So, um, I'm looking through. I mean, we talked about Tim Settle, but man, I mean, it's been an absolutely crazy free agency day, man. This is
Yeah.
day one. I mean, this is like
Yeah.
day
So
one of it.
this is when your biggest
This,
moves
the
are really going to
tampering
happen.
day. This is called tampering day, right?
Tampering day.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So,
But hey, another not NFL related, but another big signing. What happened? Freddie Freeman from the Atlanta Braves has been
I have
released.
I
Yeah,
haven't got to see this, man. Stupid real work today got in my way, and
I know, man. I
doing
know.
too much real work, and everything that happened. I get off work, and I like all this stuff is just coming at me. And I'm like, man, let me sit and make sense and digest this stuff for a minute. Um, so
Matt
Freeman
Olson from Atlanta. The Athletics goes
left
over
the A's.
to from the A's goes over to Atlanta. And man, I mean, it's gonna be, as I said. I mean, Freddie Freeman is now a free agent, man, looking for a team. I would mind to see this guy in Washington, man. Would not mind it in a bit,
No. I wouldn't
especially as a
either.
DH, man. Remember, the National League has DH now.
Yeah, Washington made their signing today of the guy that they believe is going to be their DH, Nelson Cruz.
I saw that.
41-year-old Nelson Cruz.
I
He's
saw
only
that.
4 years younger than us, man, and he's still playing baseball. Good for him, I guess.
I
But I
guess,
think
man.
that's going to be their DH place. I just don't think, unfortunately, our Nationals are not in the market to spend big money on people. You saw it, and
No.
they let Harper go. They weren't going to give Trey Turner the money, so they traded him away.
Yep.
Scherzer was kind of a cost cutting deal because he wasn't coming back here anywhere anyway. Anthony Rendon, Jordan Zimmerman. I mean, the list goes on and on. But you look at these players who've left Washington and haven't necessarily had very much success post Washington. So maybe that's
Yeah.
that's a good thing. Um,
The big signing still out there is Carlos Correa, man. He has not found a home yet. Me and Blake Knight have a bet. I say he lands in the team in Chicago. He says he lands in the team in New York. But it's going to be interesting to see, man. I think he's a perfect fit for the Cubs, but got to have that draft. You got to have that money, man. It's going to be interesting.
Man, I wish I can't find this now. But the Mets owner, Stephen Cohen, I believe is his name, second year owner of the Mets. He said,
Yeah.
I am going to go over this luxury tax threshold. It's going to become known as the Cohen tax. So I think the Mets are ready to spend. You saw it with
You give Scherzer
Scherzer.
$40
Hmm.
million a year. You deserve to lose every single cent that you've got.
Yeah, yeah, and if it was a 1 year deal, I think they can get something out of Max this year. But I think it's a 3 year deal. At 40 a year, if I'm not mistaken. That's a long time to be. They're still paying Bobby Bonilla, aren't they?
They still are.
I think
Yes.
they are.
Yeah,
So
they are.
so I mean,
Every July 1st is Bobby Bonilla Day. I mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
hey,
And
breaking news: Xavier Woods from the Dallas Cowboys is signing a deal with the Carolina Panthers. So that just came out. Xavier
okay,
Woods, the safety out of Dallas, just signed a $15.75 million deal with the Panthers per Adam Schefter of ESPN. So
is if you sit and look at this stuff and really take a step back, the Rams, who won the Super Bowl, have no draft picks. Um, the Chiefs, a contender for many years now, and you think they're going to be for a long time. With Mahomes, they've got an aging offensive line. Green Bay, I have no idea how Green Bay is going to find the money to pay the people that they need to pay. Some of your contenders who have been around for a long time, and I think that the Bills. I don't know where they look like salary cap wise, but they could have a couple of year window. Same with the Bengals. Dallas is trying too. But so these teams that have been around for a long time like this are getting up against the cap. Are going to have to start shedding these salaries and these
well,
players. So
I
this
was
is a
talking
chance for your Carolinas and your Jacksonvilles to move themselves up into that step. Contend for a playoff spot.
I was talking to a buddy of mine. We're talking about Green Bay, which is a team I cannot stand, obviously. But Aaron Rodgers just signed basically a $50 million deal per year, and obviously they're trying to sign, which they just franchised Adams, right,
Adams,
Devontae
right?
Adams,
Mhm.
and Adams refuses to play under the tag. Now I think it's $18.7 million per year for Adams' this year deal. He's refusing to play unless he gets a long-term deal, and he wants $30 million a year to play wide receiver, man, which is absolutely ridiculous. But again, if you sign those two, dude, that's $68.7 million. They have $158 million, almost $160 million for the cap this year. Okay, so you look at it like this, man. It's a third of your cap space for two guys.
Well, the thing that I saw earlier. Well, it was last Thursday. That was um, Rogers and Adams. Adams playing under the tag would account for 24% of their payroll. Two people is a quarter of your team's payroll. How
You
how
can't do that. So
you could
here's what they're
you could
doing.
no you can do it. You could pay all kinds of people very little money, but is that going to get you where you
No,
want to get? Is that going to get Rogers another champion? No, it's
no,
not.
it's not. But here's the deal. Here's what they're counting on, man. This is what I was trying to think about what Green Bay was trying to do. Obviously, they're going to try to restructure as many contracts as they can, and they're going to move a lot of money into signing bonuses and stretch out these contracts to back end loaded contracts, right? They're still going to get paid. It's just going to be a back end deal. Now, here's the problem. They're betting on the future of the obviously NFL bargaining deal coming back. I think in 2 years they have another bargaining deal with these TV contracts. If that is the case, Sam, they just need to push it out one more year, and then they get a whole new salary cap, which could go almost to about 175 to $200 million in salary caps, right? In the next 2 years. And if that's the case, they continue to push out these contracts, then they're going to be fine. But we don't know if that's going to be true or not, man. They're just kicking the can down the road. A lot of these teams. I will tell you this. With Chicago, they got rid of Khalil Mack, and by doing so, they've kind of punted on the season. Their salary cap that they're going to have available next year, Sam, is $130 million, which is exciting because here's the deal. They've got all their draft capital back next year. Because remember, they gave up 2 number ones for Justin Fields.
Okay.
And they're going to be able to do one of two things. They're going to be able to build through the draft and sign a bunch of free agents on the defensive and offensive line like Ryan Poles wants. I'm excited as a Bears fan. They've got all this draft capital. They got a potential following year salary cap increase. Dude, look out. Not this year. Bears are going to suck this year. But next year, dude, they're going to be just like the the LA Rams, and be able to build through the draft and sign a bunch of free agents, man. I'm excited about it.
I am 100% behind that. I like the idea of you're not there where you need to be, so rebuild, trade some things away, get some draft picks back, and
let your veterans go
with the way that if these new we say if these new TV contracts, I mean, if the NFL TV contracts double, the networks are still getting a bargain because it's not like the NFL is going to lose popularity any time in the next couple of years. This was the most watched Super Bowl ever, I think, this past year.
I think
a third, 1 out of every 3 people watched this Super Bowl. Find something else that's not the MASH finale that many people watched. It's
the old MASH finale.
Yeah, but it's the NFL is going to keep doing that, and the NFL with their Thursday night games, with their Sunday night games and Monday night. I mean, it's they have really spread it out. You know what happens come football season? Nothing else matters. Hey, there's a World Series that gets played during the middle of football season. 2 cities care about that. The 2 that it's being played in. But if there's a World Series game on a Sunday night, they'd be watching the football game. An Astros World Series game on a Sunday night versus a Houston Texans game, the Texans game is going to get better numbers. I guarantee it.
Correct. 100%. Yep. I agree.
So.
Well, I mean, as I said, it's interesting, man. Now let's kind of change subjects. We got on the air last night. We talked a little bit about the Tom Brady situation. Got a little bit into basketball, but now let's kind of dive into the basketball, man. You've seen your bracket? I showed you mine. Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and talk about your bracket, man, and get into this, man.
You know what? I haven't. I just as I sat down here waiting for the show to start, I finally started. Getting to pick some stuff. So I'll go and do it live with you, line by line,
okay.
and give you my picks. So let me start in the West. Gonzaga, of course, is going to win that opening round game. I'll take Memphis to beat Boise State. One of the funky things that I do is I almost always pick every 9 to beat every 8 seed, just because hey, it's an upset. I'll take it. I'll give you New Mexico State beating Connecticut and Vermont beating Arkansas. The 13 and the 12 are both going to win. Alabama will get past Rutgers or Notre Dame, whoever they end up with. Texas Tech moving past Montana State. Davidson, here's another upset. Davidson will upset Michigan State. Duke moving on.
I'm not a fan of Michigan State right now.
I'm not either. And that Davidson team is, they've been around for a while. When I started looking to pick the next round, do you know how badly I want to pick Davidson to upset Duke? I call it almost a coin flip there, but I'm going to stick. I'm going to stick with Duke. So let me go back to the winners out of your second round. Gonzaga will beat Memphis. Vermont will move on to the Sweet 16. Texas Tech beating Alabama, and Duke is going to squeak by Davidson.
Gotcha.
There. Then your Elite 8 game for the right to go to the Final Four is going to be Gonzaga versus Texas Tech. Texas Tech is going to beat Duke. Gonzaga moving on out of the West.
Yep.
All right, and then I've done a little bit of work here in the East too. Baylor, UNC. Here now, I just said I'm gonna usually take nines to beat eights, but blue blood UNC. Um, I, I'm gonna take them there. St. Mary's, they're a number 5 who's going to get past that dangerous number 12 team. UCLA will get past Akron as well. Virginia Tech will upset Texas.
Yeah, I mean the ACC champion Virginia Tech. I mean,
right.
yeah.
The disrespected.
I don't know if anybody's picking. I don't know if anybody's picking Texas.
I don't think they are. Very disrespected and very underrated Virginia Tech team, and that's it. I have reached my lifetime quota of the nice things I'm going to say about Virginia Tech.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Murray State will beat San Francisco. That's going to be a good game. That's going to be a good game, a fun game to watch there. Kentucky will beat St. Pete. So let's go. Baylor getting by UNC. UCLA will beat St. Mary's. Purdue over Virginia Tech. Kentucky over Murray State. This is a region that I believe the cream is going to rise to the top in this one.
So pretty chalky.
Yeah. Once you get out of that first round, there's a couple.
Except
couple
your
sets
Vermont
to look
pick.
at.
Except for your Vermont pick, I think your Vermont over Arkansas is very interesting.
A double-digit seed always makes the Sweet 16. It's going to happen. It happens. So look at your multiple. Yeah, and I don't think Vermont is the only double-digit seed I'm gonna take there when we get to the end. So then you've got Baylor and UCLA. I'm gonna take UCLA beating Baylor.
That team. I love that team.
Baylor a little bit toward the end of the season could have performed better like they did at the earliest part of the season. Purdue will beat Virginia Tech here, and Kentucky take care of Murray State. And then you know what? I'll take Kentucky to beat Purdue, and that's going to be. I mean, if we get an Elite Eight UCLA Kentucky game, how fun is that going to be to watch?
Oh, that's going to be so, like, dude. You must put Dre Day back on, man, and you might as well put, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah, that's. I'm going to. I'm going to take UCLA. I just think things happen. Things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Blue, man. All right, I like it.
So let's go to the other side. Arizona over whoever they're going to play after the play-in game. Seton Hall will take out TCU. UAB is going to beat Houston. Give me Chattanooga again. So there's another spot. The 5-12, 4-13.
The buzzer beater, man, in their conference championship, man. They literally nailed a 3 at the last second to win. It was incredible.
And so there again, this is how it happens. This is how your double-digit seeds get to the Sweet 16. You've got
12 and 13 seeds face each other in the round of 32.
That's the second time I've got 12 and 13 seeds. I've also picked that over in the West, Vermont, New Mexico State.
Wow.
It's too much of that stuff happens to not look and find it somewhere.
UConn has a great team though.
I'm looking at this thing on Saturday and I'm like, what have I done? Why would you do that, you idiot? Illinois. That's why this time of year is just absolutely so much fun. Tennessee will take care of. I've got Colorado State over Michigan. Tennessee taking care of Longwood. Loyola Chicago will beat Ohio State. Villanova over Delaware. So that'll give us Arizona taking out TCU.
Yep.
UAB. I'll take UAB over Chattanooga there.
Wow.
Tennessee is good. That's going to be a good game with Colorado State there.
By the way, let's stop right there. Longwood, out of Virginia, made the championship for the first time in school history. Give
Yeah.
some props to
Good,
Longwood
good, good,
University.
good, good job for good job for a pretty cool school. My daughter took a tour of the school, um, and I would have picked Longwood to go to. It was a pretty cool little place down there. Um,
Yeah,
and just looking over this field of 68, how many Washington D.C. area teams have made the field of 68? If
that's
you
a great
if
point.
if you stretch that out to include Longwood, there's no Georgetowns, there's no Marylands. Um, UMBC from a couple years ago didn't win their tournament. Mason again, didn't still
Mason
kind
was
of
horrible this year
down. Um,
again.
Richmond, okay, so Richmond's still in here too. So two of our area schools made it. What is going on in this area with hoops, man?
Dude, Georgetown lost 21 straight games this year.
Hoya Saxa, right?
I mean, you can't make this up. George Washington was terrible. I mean, usually those
Yeah,
are
yeah,
pretty good
yeah.
basketball teams,
There,
man.
there's some good.
Mason
There's some
was not good.
no,
Hmm.
no. There's usually some good stuff that can happen in this area. But we're down a few years, and I wonder how much you know COVID had to play into that. Um,
Yeah, I mean, who knows,
it's
man? I
it's
mean,
it's it's,
that's
it's
a great
these
point.
are these are some repercussions, some things that need to be thought about for the over the next couple of years when we see these things, these areas that are basketball hotbeds not doing things so well. So, all right,
Yeah,
so where am I at? I've got Arizona facing UAB. I'll take Arizona to beat UAB there. Tennessee will take out Villanova, and I'm gonna take an upset and take number 3 Tennessee going to the Final Four. That one's probably a stretch in a region with um, Villanova in Arizona and even Illinois that I picked to lose very early. But that is a very very good region right
yeah.
there.
Okay, so you don't have to talk there at all. I mean, it's pretty
No,
decent. Okay.
so let's go to the Midwest. And Kansas, you've always, I mean, you almost always go and write your ones and twos straight in. Easy enough. Creighton, give me a 9 seed again, just because I like taking 9 seeds. Um, Iowa, Richmond, I don't think is going to have anything to stand with him.
Iowa's the
Um,
hottest team in the NCAA, which I called them out last week. I thought that their run is over.
mhm.
I think they shot their load in the regular season, man. But they are definitely the hottest team in the NCAA right
Yeah, but
now.
I think they can get by Richmond pretty easy here. And then this is an interesting matchup here. What do you do if I go and look at my bracket as a whole? I'm kind of happy with the number of upsets that I've picked. If I start picking a whole lot more, then it's just going to look like absolute chaos, and that can fall apart on you super super quick. Um,
Yep.
but I'll take Providence there just as that's almost a bracket savior. I'd call it. Um, LSU Iowa State. This is another. Oh,
This
okay.
is a
You know what?
tough one, man.
It,
This
it,
is
it
a tough one
absolutely
for me.
there's some tough matchups in this bracket or in this region here for
Yeah,
everybody
this one.
not named Kansas or Auburn. I
Yep.
think or Iowa. I think Iowa got a nice uh, opponent there with Richmond. Um, I'm going to take me in LSU because I'm going to go below that, and I'm going to take Colgate to upset Wisconsin, and I'm taking Miami to beat USC. Let's move
Okay.
on to the round of 32 and take Kansas. I'll take Iowa again. I think they can ride just a little bit longer. LSU. Here I have an issue. You very rarely see um, even in your Sweet 16 on Elite 8 games, conference rematches. So if I go with an LSU beating Colgate, and I really like Auburn to beat Miami, I'm going with Auburn. Am I going to see that rematch?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'll take Kansas, Iowa, LSU, Auburn as my Sweet 16 representatives out of the Midwest. Iowa's run will end right here up against Kansas, and Auburn. We'll finish off LSU, and
We got 1-2 out of that conference.
there's 1-2 again. Some now, as much as you want to look at or as I've said, look at these upsets, and you know that they're going to happen. You've got to find them and pick them. But I was reading something that Jay Billis wrote today for ESPN that 20 of the last 21 years, your tournament champion has been either a number 1, 2, or 3 seed. So it's your 1, 2, 3s do very well to get through. 1-2 matchups don't happen very often, and that's the only one that's going to be in this in my bracket. And then I'm going to take Kansas. To move on to the Final Four. Gonzaga, UCLA. I'm going to take the Zags. In Kansas, and we're going to look at two number 1 seeds facing off against each other for Gonzaga to lift that trophy on April 4th in New Orleans.
All right, so 2 number 1s, Kansas and Zags. And you picked Zags like I did. I think Zags is going to go. I think Jay Billis picked Zags. A lot of people are picking Zags to win.
It's very hard to not pick that team. When Gonzaga got hot, gosh, how long have we been watching Gonzaga in a tournament now? 20 some years.
Oh yeah.
Early on, they couldn't. They would win their conference. They'd lose 2 games over the course of a season. They couldn't schedule these bigger teams. Now they can. And so they're not as overlooked all season long. The comment that just popped up there, Tennessee. I like Tennessee. Tennessee is a scary good team.
Yeah, I mean they're good.
That was a tough SEC that they had to squeak through and win. But like I was saying about Gonzaga, I
don't think they're better than Auburn.
Who's that? Tennessee?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd call it almost a coin flip. They play 100 times. I think it'd be close to 50-50.
Yeah, I mean, I just like Bruce Pearl. I mean, again, I think it's a revenge factor too. Bruce Pearl,
he's a fun guy.
Yeah. I mean, I trust Bruce Pearl than I do anybody else. I think the Tennessee made a major mistake getting rid of Bruce Pearl, but anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Hey, but they won the SEC without him, so you can't knock that. You're good quality coaches. Calipari, not Calipari. Dang it, who's the Patino? I don't know. I always get Calipari and Patino confused for some reason.
Me too.
I don't know. Maybe it's
They're
Italian.
Both Italian.
It's the Italian sounding name. So, but Mark Few and Bruce Pearl, Bob Huggins, West Virginia didn't have the season that he normally has. But look at those coaches who've been there and been there many times, and there was a thought that I had that, hey, it's going to be great, and Mike Krzyzewski's going to win himself one last national championship as he goes out. But the field is way too stacked against Duke. I just don't think they have the firepower to make it through a tournament.
Yeah, I don't know if too many people are picking Duke, obviously, than Dukies. But
I really don't.
At the end of the day, man, look, I mean, this bracket has a lot of parity to it. I think, like we talked about, man, the other night. I mean, this bracket's up in the air for just about anybody to win. Now, I do like Gonzaga. I think they're, above and beyond. I think the cream rises to the top, man. I think they're going to do great. But Gonzaga always has a history of losing that big game. I mean, whether it be Elite Eight, Final Four, or the championship, they always tend to lose.
They've lost a couple times in the round of 32 as a number 1 seed or a number 2 seed.
I know, man. That's what scares me about it. They just tend to disappoint. But again, I listen. I would not be surprised, Sam, if a 5 or 6 seed wins this tournament. I mean, Wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean?
Let's look.
And
Let's look
who
at some
that
of the
team
five
is, like
seeds.
okay,
Connecticut and Alabama, 5 and 6 seeds.
Alabama. No, I'm out on Alabama,
Okay,
but
okay,
I
all
do
right,
like
all right.
UConn.
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't know when
so
you.
I mean, I don't know if UConn has enough firepower to go through there, but
Yeah,
a 4 seed like UCLA, I can see getting
yeah.
hot and going through.
A
Um,
UCLA, Purdue. Well, Purdue's a 3. Your 5 seed there is the St. Mary's. I mean, the St. Mary's earning themselves a number 5
hey,
seed.
listen,
They can't be that bad of a team.
a team that could absolutely run the table is Houston. They're dangerous.
Yep, yep. Uh-huh.
So I mean, look,
Yeah.
Iowa again. Iowa is a great team. Like again, the hottest team in the country. They could do some damage. You could have a Providence that they could show up and do well.
Hmm.
I mean, again, look, as I said, I don't know who it might be. It's hard to tell. If I did, if I did know, I'd be betting on them. You know what I mean?
It's is
But like another one, it's Texas Tech. I think we're
Yeah.
disrespecting Texas Tech. Texas Tech is a fantastic basketball team.
Yep.
They could make it to the Final Four, have a chance for the championship, man. I don't know.
It was after you dropped off last night, but I finished something up through here, and um I kind of talked about the odd things that can happen, and I was just focusing in on the East, and I had there is a potential in the East to see um, UCLA fighting or playing Virginia Tech, or UNC playing Virginia Tech in the Elite Eight round. These wacky, weird, off the wall things can happen, and
Yeah,
I know that this year's UNC team is not UNC teams that we're used to seeing, but if you look at you're sitting there when it's time for some Elite Eight games to come on, you're like, hey, UNC's playing for a chance to go to the Final Four. Good, you should have expected it. That
yep,
you can't count as a quality school like that who's been doing it for so long. You cannot discount them just because they're a number 8 seed. Number 1 seeds have lost to that round of 32 game quite often, and it's happened quite often in the last couple of years.
right.
Not so
Yeah,
much last year, but a few years back before that, for
yeah.
sure.
And here's another thing, guys. Like, I think this year, if you were to just like give a trend bet in all your games, rather than picking the individual teams, I think this year you got to hammer the overs. Hammer the overs. Like I
It's
think
a
if
3-point shot. Those threes rain down, and these
hammer the overs on these games.
yeah,
I
yeah,
just think they're going to come out swinging and they're going to score a bunch of points, man.
yeah.
Again, I could be wrong, but I think the overs are going to do very, very well this year. So,
Yeah.
just one of those gut feelings.
Especially in your 116 and your 215 matchups in that opening round, because that
Yeah.
Gonzaga is just going to run roughshod over Georgia State. It's it's going to be something something along the lines of like a 94 to 63 kind of game, and it's
Yeah, exactly.
so yeah.
Exactly. Well, Sam, that's it, man.
Man,
It's about 45 minutes into the show.
yeah. So
We hammered it. We hammered it, man. But guys, stay tuned next week. We're going to cover the first rounds during the show. Also, tomorrow night, Blake and I will be on Hindsight 2020. I get to eat a freaking chip. That's hot as hell. I'm not looking forward to that, but I'm getting ready. I'll get ready to eat that, and then man, we got a lot of stuff. We might pop on Thursday. I think the NCAA starts. And then, man, we're just gonna be kind of talking through it, man. So
yeah. I mean, you never know when you could see us. You could see us jump on here at any time throughout the weekend of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
we could do it, and we
YouTube
might
channel
do it
is growing. Our YouTube channel is
if-
growing
if-
big time. We had over 20,000 views last month, which is incredible. We're slowly building the subscriber base. Go and subscribe to it, man. Motion Sports is growing, man. I love it.
Yeah, all the fun stuff that we've done, and if you don't have 45 minutes to an hour to sit here with us like this, you have 45 minutes to an hour while you're driving to work. Pop the YouTube up, and we're not all that much to look at, but we're definitely worth listening to.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah.
Yep, exactly.
So,
All
all
right,
right, Greg,
guys, we're out of here. Take care,
continue
man.
enjoying yourself, Florida man, and I will see
do.
you later on, buddy.
We'll see you, man.
Bye.
Bye-bye.